Streaming. Let's look at the restream. It's still queuing. Halfway there. Done. All right. We're good to go.
Welcome, 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 everyone, to another Two Feathers Medicine Thursday live show. I am joined by my two intrepid explorers of the consciousness world, Laura Two Feathers Massey and Dale Tobin, the many-handed wonders of the universe.
Welcome everyone to this week's show. It's an honor to be here again.
Yeah, hi everyone. Good to be here.
So today we are going to be giving you a light language colonic. And I know many of you are going, what? What is this Galactic Historian doing to us? A light language colonic? Yes, we are going to help you break blockages, whether they are rectal blockages or spiritual blockages in the crown chakra. We're going to be looking at blockages and how you can use light language to break those blockages. And we titled it Light Language Colonic for a reason. We wanted to combine words that made you think, that wasn't clicky bait. So everyone that is down there, please prepare yourself. Okay, lube yourself up.
Go to the Galactic sex shop.
Get yourself your legs in the right position.
Oh shit! I watch. I'm watch what I'm saying. Sorry.
Yes, Dale,
Yes.
you're on the wrong
sorry
show.
about-
Remember, there's 16,500 words you're not allowed to say on YouTube.
That's probably one of them.
So everyone, get your legs up in the air, lay yourself back on your spiritual Kalima board, and yeah, lube yourself up. Okay. And just get yourself into that space. And what we are going to be doing here is using a light language, and then Laura will do a light language and Dale will do a light language, but it's all going to be on the same topic, subject matter. Okay. And then we will be opening up to calls as we normally do in the second hour. So for those of you that want to have personal conversations and questions with us, you will be able to do that. Now, for those of you who have not really experienced light language or trying to figure out what it is, the individual words such as "ihya yatoka na," does it have a word-based definition? No. It has an ethereal meaning to it. So for an example, a enunciation and pronunciation is the manifestation in this physical world. And that enunciation, pronunciation, has a code of light behind it. And that code could have thousands of descriptive words and phrases and concepts behind it. So one word can have 1,000 words. Just like a picture can have 1,000 words, light language can be millions and millions and millions of descriptive words. This is why light language can be used to effectively break on blockages. Now, light language is meant to be an activating and catalyzing energy. So as you begin to regularly do it, you will notice energy that is not really moving fast begins to move much faster. And after a while, the frequencies will raise and raise and raise until such a point a higher bioenergetic rhythm takes over, and you find yourself, doing what we'll call spiritual calisthenics. Okay, spiritual cardio work, and really building up an enduring energy that helps you go to the next level. So because this is a light language colonic show, we're going to focus in the beginning here on our intestinal tract. Our intestinal tract is where we store our dreaming body, our dreaming world. So Laura, how do the ancestors and the dreaming world relate from the messages that you've learned over the years? And how does it relate to the intestinal tract as we set everybody up with the education here?
Well, for me, from my perspective, it's my dreaming body goes out and meets the ancestors, and we have conversations. But give me a bit more, Andrew, what you're looking for here.
So the dreaming body that's in the intestinal tract.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. What have you learned about the dreaming body?
Well, the dreaming body works down from our crown chakra well, the dreaming body is actually held in the intestines, isn't it? So what I've learned is as we fall asleep, the energy moves down from our crown chakra down through all the chakras, down through our heart chakra, and eventually opens like a flower in the intestinal tract. And then
just above the belly button. Yes.
Okay. Yeah. And then leaves the body and goes into your dreaming world.
Yeah. And it could be many dreaming worlds at once. And the stuff in our intestinal tract can divert, detour, or block the many strands connecting to the many dreaming worlds. This is why intestinal health and gut health is so vitally important to a vibrant dreaming person. Okay? 80% of your immune system is in your intestinal tract. Dale, what would you like to add about the intestinal tract and the messages you've learned over the years?
I'd like to add, so from my own experience, when I first started clearing out and doing work on my intestinal tract, was the memories stored in there, all the negative memories, positive in between. So from my own experience was regularly doing colonics and some sort of detox has helped me starting to remove dense memory, dense energy. I remember when I first did my first set of colonics, I had a lot of father stuff within the colon. So I was having to basically release that and go through my own traumas through that. So I found that we can store dense energy in the intestinal tract. And for us to feel good, we have to be able to do some sort of release throughout the year to continue doing that releasing period. So from my own experience, when I started doing colonics, I started to remember my dreams much more. I started to have much better dreams as well. So for me, it was a dreaming gateway to myself, really, and to my own goals, and to have perspective from the dreaming world as well.
With that being said, the language that we're going to be using, we're going to start at the stomach, and then we're going to move down to the upper intestine, the lower intestine, and the rectum. Now, our rectum, or the sphincter, is equivalent to your third eye. Our third eye is a projector and a receiver. The opposite end, the rectum, even though it is not your actual third eye, it has a very similar process, but the expelling of the excess waste. And it has a wisdom within it that is connected to the intestinal tract that allows the fluids from the top of the intestinal tract to move rapidly down to the lower parts of the intestinal tract and to be expelled out. So you can see it not only as a spiritual filter, but as a way that it can balance the overall expulsion process. Okay? So we're going to start with the digestion of the stomach. So I will start, and then we'll have Laura go, and then we'll have Dale, and then we're going to move on to the next part. In between, but before we move to the next part, we're going to ask you, what do you feel during these processes? Because this is a feeling catalyzing process. Okay? Hi ho hi sha ho ka ni ma hi tu shi mi ni ka wa ka chi cha ho ha hi ne che to ku sha ni ma ka kush na hi ta na wa yi ga ta ta sha wo wa yi ka ya ya shan no kan ching wo hi ni ji gong mong jing.
Wa hi na na ki kan cha on chi ka Koniki na chika cho kunchini na kon akiti chiniki changaka.
Isho esaka guenja kuwa kaka kunje he sha kumba kakanje hosiamba chanja kunje he yanja ku shakunge kakumba kaka kuwa shalusinga kamba kango kunga ya kushinja kumba kangi chu sha kumba kanga kunje kangu guwa shilekuka shingo hasinaka.
Okay. What we were essentially talking about there is the initial digestive process of the stomach. Food that has not been chewed too much, or food that has been not has enough saliva to break it down, where we're encouraging the stomach to create enzymes, to open up the churning process, to not overcreate acidity, to balance the amount of fluids that are in there. So the pre-digestion process before we go through the duodenum, that the food that's within the stomach has been balanced enough to enter the next level. Okay. So everyone out there, bring these frequencies into your stomach. As you hear these words, recreate them as if there were speakers in your stomach and your intestinal tract. This is the nature of using light language to break blockages. Okay. So now we're moving from the stomach to the upper intestine. Now, generally, the upper intestine is between 5 and 11 feet. We have generally between like 27, 28 feet of intestinal tract there. So it's a very long process. Some of the tubes are very wide, some are very thin. Here is where many people have a very heavy mucus layer because oftentimes they have not chewed their food enough, and you have to be very acidic in the beginning to be breaking things down. This is why people get intense stomach aches. This is where acid reflux comes from in the beginning of irritable bowel syndrome, because there's a too much mucus from the very beginning to the very ending of the intestinal tract. And yes, bloating can start here, because if it's over acided here, when it enters to a more alkaline state, there are food that will be coming on top of it, which will cause the bloating. Kind of like when you open a soda can, it foams up. And then candida will be generally in the mid to lower intestine, but it can go all the way up to the top of the intestine. And when you have that, bloating can become very, very painful. So this is for the upper intestine. Bring these frequencies, recreate them so they are as if they were cleansing vibratory frequency going through the inside, breaking up the mucus layer, breaking the food down, and allowing the frequencies to aid the digestion. Wahi hi ya shata waka wanita ta she ho ki shami ni ki wahi shanasu mahi kata iti ma chi wahi ni chi shi wahi ni sa sha hua ha shi sha ha xin xin wa ha sho shoni ka ka ha sha wataka.
Wahinaki jiniki ki cha koni ki ki na ni ka koni chulunta. Naki kanaki cha niki chiniki ta chonoko konoko.
Xia ô xin ya cua chen ya cô cả càng gà cao cung gà kinh je phụ ca ca cam mà wa ja sang gi kun ji kan chi cha kun na kan gà kun ye ba chi xin bo wa kan ya bo ken da ku si xia bo wa kin ya ku hai xin go han ya kun ga shung ga ka ba ku.
So everybody that's out there, go onto the chat room and tell us what the beginning of feelings you're getting. And you feel the vibration in there, okay? And try a couple seconds of light language for yourself. Feel your words penetrate there, okay? And because this is an interactive show, we are looking for your feedback. So go on and type something in the chat room when you're doing that. Ear drumming, yeah, that's a good one. Stomach butterflies. Vibration behind the solar plexus. Yeah, you're activating the internal energies. Remember, your chakras have a front and a back. And when you use internal light language like this, you open up and break the blockages specifically on the back of a chakra. Most people think you can just work on the front and do everything. No, you actually have to work on the back of the chakras also. So Andy is saying fuzzy in the shoulder blades is because you actually probably had a major blockage right at the duodenum level, meaning there's something going on with your food processing that's creating a higher form of blockages that are in your central nervous system, actually at the ganglion level. Because the shoulder blades are a very big motion of energy place.
And Santo's saying lots of burping, which is releasing negative energy.
Yeah, burping is releasing of negative energy. And April is asking, will this help activate your own light language? Absolutely. It is actually why we're doing this light language show. You hear me do it. You hear Laura do it. You hear Dale do it. Now you do your version of it too. Okay. But remember, light language is a catalyst. So if you start it, the rolling ball gets stronger and stronger and stronger and stronger. Somebody just had to go potty. Congratulations, we did it already. Okay, we got someone in the crap already. Alrighty, now we're going to move to the middle intestinal tract. And this is where most people have pretty bad candida, and their alkaline to acidity level can rapidly change from one turn to the next. And this is what can create some of the worst bloating or rock in the stomach feelings, or the poop is actually backed up that far, meaning you're retaining 12 to 20 pounds of fecal matter inside yourself. And the tube, which should be around that thick, has an inch of mucus, and the hole itself for stuff to go through is very little. So what we're going to be doing out here is balancing the acidity levels through the middle parts of the intestine and making the hole bigger, meaning breaking down the mucus layers there. You do not want high levels of mucus blocking the tube. Otherwise, you end up anal retentive, literally. Okay? Lots of shit backed up, 7 feet of shit blacked up. That's why when you actually go and do physical colonics, 1 colonic is equivalent to 30 morning poops. Okay? You can imagine what comes out in 30 morning poops. Okay? And there are people doing 7, 8, 9 colonics at a time. That's 180, 200 morning poops. Okay? That's how much can be stored inside you. Now, the majority, when you're storing that much, initially it's reserved protein, but oftentimes it becomes petrified and never moves. And here is where the light language is going to get the petrified stuff to begin to move and not be lodged into the mucus layer like a bark. Okay? Shi ho ki wa ta kai no kuka asna shi mo I maya shahu ki tana wi sha shawu kaka yasani uki ya shihoko kayeta nikumutu yi mahiya shonu miki sha shahokana.
Akinta akina koncha konaki chiki ki chikam chikam kong kong kinka king chinkong aki
Shi bakin ya kuwe shanga kakakangwa jin ya kumba kakanje chuwe she hangunja chango mawanje asuti makango shanga kunga kanje shukshinja bakama kunga shi lookinga shakaka kunga ha shenga kunga anja kunja kakanjo washa.
How did that feel for you guys? That tongue. Are you accessing the 1,000,000-letter celestial alphabet when using light language? Yes. Okay. When you get beyond a 26-letter alphabet, you begin to learn there is a greater strategy that you can do with the 1,000,000-letter alphabet that allows you to be multidimensional, multifunctional, multi-optionable, with multiple tracks of thought going on simultaneously that don't compete with each other. So you can do a lot of things very fast. Chisel work, yes. So rumbling, especially when Dale speaks, that rumbling, think about it. What would make your stomach rumble? Like in the morning, your stomach rumbles. It's warning you, hey, your morning duty's coming. In the afternoon, it's saying that something's going on internally over there. Okay, when you are actually getting your stomach to make any kind of noise, you are experiencing the catalyst of the light language. That means you're actually breaking the wall of awareness where your words are beginning to penetrate deep inside you and begin to catalyze and activate the internal parts of yourself. Like lots of prune juice in the stomach. Okay.
And
So Santo, he's feeling a tight feeling in the stomach with the burping. That means you've been holding on to somebody else's negative energy that isn't yours. Okay. So Santo, the next part here, you can hear us, but increase the volume that's in your intestinal tract and see this forward action of sound plowing through all of the matter. and the sound waveform of the language beginning to break things down into smaller and smaller particles. Okay. So we just worked on the mid-intestinal tract. Now we're going to go to the first part of the lower intestinal tract. Here is where the tube gets much wider. Okay. It could be as big as this much, but it goes around and around and around. So there's a lot more volume in here. Here is where people that have IBS, major autoimmune system situations going on, here's where the majority of your immune system is stored. Why is the immune system stored in your intestinal tract? Okay, not somewhere else. Because you need all the gut genomes and binomes that are in there to create the proper acidically and harmonic levels so that you can actually fight against bacteria, fight against viruses, because there are viruses and candidas and all sorts of things in the intestinal tract, which you have specialized symbiotic immunity with. Okay. So now with this bigger thing, you got to see the resonating chamber of the bigger size intestinal tract amplifying. It's like dropping a firecracker inside an old concrete tube and seeing how much that noise is amplified. Okay. Here also is where we've entered the big garage side where the car of the dreaming body is parked. Okay. The first part is the walkway. We've just walked up to the garage and opened the door, and we see our big dreaming vehicle. Okay. That's the thing we energetically enter. And because we're in the large intestinal tract, we are going to be exiting just above, okay, the belly button where little strings come out and go everywhere. But because this is just, we're going to get in the car, kick the tires a little bit, we're not going to go off into the dreaming world. We're going to go all the way down to the rectum and have a full purging of this energy. Okay. So the first part of the light language will be opening the garage door, kicking the tires to the car, making sure everything's working right, and then moving down further. Okay. Nashi hoko motu mahata kika chawaka datachewi shahi hayataka chanawaka shahi hishi shawonaka shima yitakaka wati datachu shina taka wakachu hoshi hoko moti nayataka washina katasho hunta.
Onikini. Kani kichana okoni la chakan chia kan china o kicha o ko ichina o chiko ni china o china icha o chikanaki o ya.
Isho eka kumne hakinga ka kunje he shichangu ha kamawa kinjo ha bawakiche sunjakang kumba keche hasuta shimbaka kunda hake wakinja ha kunga kachi shimbokanga kunja ya kuwa shenga kuwa kichikengo bakanga kakanga kuwa ha yeho.
How did that feel? Yeah. Well, on people, let's give a feedback. Okay, what was it like when you kicked the tires to the dreaming vehicle? Were they flat? Were there dents on your fenders? Is there a crushed tail light? Oftentimes, if you do this form of light language and do the vehicle inspection process, you'll realize the types of dreaming worlds you're going to, where there are some aggressive traffic things that you run into, stuff thrown at you as you're going at the speed of dreams. Okay. Imagine if somebody throws a brick off the top of a freeway and you run through it. That happens in the dreaming world often. Or sudden barriers pop up and you slam into something, you take out your quarter panels in a metaphor. Okay. Here you can repair the dreaming vehicle. And it's vitally important that we repair it, and it's at top notch. We open up the hood, change the oil, all these as metaphors to make sure our dreaming vehicle, when we enter it energetically, it is our spiritual armor that does not restrict us. Felt a bit bumpy, strong on the inner thighs. Felt like a Sunday drive, smooth with a little road thrown in there. There you go. Okay, you're all starting to feel something down there. Laura, Dale, what were you getting as you were doing that?
I was just feeling like a kind of water just flushing through all the time, just continuously going back and back and back and going all through the intestinal tract, going out to the anus. So it was kind of like, it felt like a plow. So at the start we were plowing even more, and at the end it was kind of like the snow plow came and gave it a big push.
Okay. Laura?
Yeah, for me, when I first started, it felt quite dense to have to work through, and it's now started to loosen up and flow.
There you go.
Yeah, a bit more like my light language.
Yeah. So somebody says feeling like ripples. Was there anybody burping? We'll come back to the chat in a second. I know it takes time for you to chat.
They're too busy burping.
Yeah. Somebody vomited. Frida vomited. Ooh. That means you had really something to get rid of. Taking on too much energy of others if you're vomiting like that too. All right. The next part. I am going to use viscerally descriptive words on purpose. Warning. Okay. I want you to see this as a battering ram of energy. Okay. Like the old metaphor, 550 barbarians with a big giant log ramming into the gate until it breaks down. And what is the gate? The sphincter. Okay. You are creating a battering ram energy that is going from the mid, upper, and lower intestine all the way into the sphincter. Okay. This battering ram energy, the sphincter is aware the battering ram is coming. And what we're doing is we are activating the sphincter to go at a higher processing level. Okay. This is not going to damage the sphincter. The sphincter is used to this happening all the time. There are stuff that goes from upper intestine to lower intestine in 5 minutes. When you have that, something's moving very fast and the sphincter knows the battering ram is coming. And this battering ram energy is to activate the sphincter's higher awareness energy so that it can open up and let the right fluids and toxins go. So it's going to overall balance the system. Okay. Shomuki naha sha we kanata yashnahaku wahi shomi muki tiji shaho sha na wakashika woko ni mugi sha woko kashna wa makisha shakata kakashaka.
Akina, China, Kila, Achanya, Achanya, O, Chini, Ko, Konicha, Aka, Achika, Achana, Kachi.
Shaka kunga kakakangu, changi hachu, changa kangba, chikunda kanji si, bachu de jecho, hashena goa, shango shi, shamba shuki. Shangakunga haishie lokal na kumba kakinga krushakanga.
A lot of battering rams hitting the wall and bouncing off is what I'm seeing. So why would the battering ram bounce off the wall? You got internal intestinal attachments. That means the wave of frequency and the materials behind it have enough attachments that the sphincter's forward radar awareness isn't letting things go that still have attachments to it. Okay. So think of it like this. We are now going to do something that's strictly just for the sphincter. Okay. It's to take it out of a deep hibernation, deep sleep, and to put the radar dishes internally. Okay. We're going to activate the high frequency radar early warning dishes that are on the sphincter because it knows everything. It knows everything that's in the intestinal tract. And we're going to be using the sphincter to also remove attachments of anything that's more than 6 months old. Okay. So all of the frequency of this light language that is going to be in the sphincter itself, which will activate the sphincter to send bursts of energy into the intestinal tract. And anything that is older than 6 months in the intestinal tract, it will begin to break down the strings of attachment. Yahuki shi moka wani kaka shi humayata hash makacha chawata shi moki aki shahoka washa shika homayi chaka kawo shi mukri chaka.
Ching chang ching chang king chang king dong king a ching king tani chi go ayugi go unchi a chi con e chi gani ki cha ani ki cha on a ki cha king ching aniki ki
Ishu akinaku shanga kunje ha shu bakanga kunje he shanga kunje shakumbakanji he su lakanja pa mo kuna kinda kumbaka shumbe kenjo kanga kunga kanga chumbakaka shueshi kanga shulekina bawahi he sunga chaka shukina kaka.
There we go. We see a lot of attachments. And think of it like a balloon that has a string with a 9-pound weight. We see a lot of 9-pound weights falling like bombs coming out of a big bomber. Okay. I see somebody over here. Elizabeth said her knees buckled a bit 3 times, and it happened to be standing goosebumps down to your shins. That means a major blockage within the stomach and the intestinal tract in the stomach meridian was broken down there. If you're feeling it all the way down to the shins, okay? Because inside the right side of your shins and just below the knee is where your major stomach and intestinal meridians are. So that means something big broke up there, probably a food-based program. Yeah, and the right leg also is very big to having the stomach meridians break down. So who was able to feel something from the disattachment energy? Warm feet. Warm feet is very, very, very significant. That means something has balanced in the body, that the chi, you are now producing chi, both yin and yang chi. So you're in a chi production state. That means you broke down enough blockages and attachments. You are producing more chi than you would normally do in a day. Elizabeth, now your lower legs are itchy. That means so much energy has moved through there that the static energy is where the itching was. The itching is where the static energy was. And that means it's just something to pay attention into the future. Goosebumps are great. Whenever you're getting goosebumps, that means something's moving energetically. Laura, Dale, what did you get from doing that?
You go ahead, Laura.
Just a lot of releasing energy, like things were coming unattached that didn't want to become unattached. But I felt the light language really started to shift them, really started to operate some sort of release.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So
any wisdom in those releases? I mean, sometimes they have little bits of wisdom are attached when something lets go.
Yeah, some felt like an old program that had hung about, and I didn't realize programs could reach that far down, if you know what I mean. I didn't realize they actually stayed on right to the sphincter.
Yep, all the way to the sphincter.
Okay. Yeah, which makes sense now I think about it. But yeah, and I've still got to process what that attachment to what I've released, but I'll look at that.
So when I was doing it, I felt a lot of, I'd say, like old memories, which I haven't been aware of dissolving. So I was able to access it with the light language, which I wouldn't be able to do it probably in the kind of my body. So I was able to go really deep into layers, and I used a lot of my hands as well. I was bringing lots of them out and going into them and just going into those memories and removing all that shit, which is I've still got stored in there. I felt like a lot of release. And something I should be doing a bit more on my cleanse at the end of the month.
Beautiful. We're seeing a lot of people get goosebumps all throughout the body, more people burping, chills and pressure up and down your shins. Okay, left ear is feeling underwater. Okay. So when ears activate to intestinal tracts, that means there is a brain part of you that's in your dreaming, meaning your brain is supposed to go into your heart and become cerebral space awareness. And then the cerebral space awareness, which is you and your heart connected, go into the dreaming vehicle. That means the brain is overwhelming cerebral awareness and you have too much brain energy in your dreaming space. And that is why you're getting ear underwater pressures, ringing, stuff like that. That just means you have a very active mind during the day, and it's very hard to shut off your mind and for the mind and the heart to agree to just be together as we slowly let our mind and body and spirit relax as we're going to sleep so that we can enter delta sleep. Could also mean there's a little bit of paranoia in the background or worry about a friend or family. Okay? All right. So that was the first way of creating a blockage destruct, a removage of blockages. So now we're going to move back up to the stomach and we're going to do a different version. We're going to be doing a balancing of the 5 elements: air, earth, water, fire, and metal. Okay? These are the standard 5 Chinese 5 elements. So within these words are the balancing of the 5 elements in the internal intestinal tract. This will also help people who are suffering greatly for autoimmune diseases or cancer recovery, anything that has to do with the immune system, and especially for people with chronic fatigue syndrome and Lyme disease, stuff like that. This will be extremely balancing for you. Okay? This is within the frequencies are the balancing of all 5 elements. And we're going to start in the stomach itself. And what I want you to do is to see a rainbow of swirling colors that begin to get stronger and stronger and stronger with the frequencies. Okay? And that energy begins to saturate everything that's in the space in the inside of the stomach, until it reaches a point like a balloon. It saturates the actual muscles in the stomach and the surface of the muscle walls, and then the outside of the stomach muscle walls also. Yi ki wa ku shi wa ta ka wa ni shahu ki ne ya wa ka wash ni ma ka na ka shaha wa ni yi ki shu wi wo ki ya na ka kush no ka.
Wahona ki cha kinya chi kai chi ki la chi ki chin cha shichu ashiki chiki o ko ono o chiko ko ne chi chika kina nakajina aniki.
Shi aki asu a jakanga kumbakanja shukela kue sakanga kumbakanji shekumbaka shude sindo kumba shanga kumba kika shunde silakunda shela kumba kakina shukanga huwe hehe shuanza bolakina kunde shamba wachi helokumba sanakunde he.
Very, very good, everyone. So Laura, what did you feel from the balancing of the 5 elements?
For me, everything was moving like in a circle. So it felt like quite like a washing going on. That was obviously the water element, and it felt like there was a fire in the middle, and then the earth around the outside, involving the metal. So the 5 elements were definitely all moving round the stomach area.
Dale?
So as I was feeling the 5 elements moving around the stomach, there was some more earth energy I'm needing at the moment. So for my own personal journey, there was like kind of a reading in itself. But I felt that kind of flowing through the stomach in such a way that it was able to give me messages and what I need to do. Or where I need to go and get out in the earth a bit more, I think, for me.
Okay. So neither of you really felt the wind energy. Okay. We're going to go back now, back to the stomach, and focus on wind. And no, I'm not trying to give you all gas. Okay. Wind is a very vital balancing energy. And this is not a hot wind. This is not a cold wind. This is body temperature wind. In Chinese medicine, hot wind is very important. It's an anger, it's a rage. And a cold wind, a pathogenic cold wind, is deep sicknesses and flus that are taking over, as well as spiritual attacks. So this wind energy is going to be building and building and building and building with the intestinal within your stomach, so that anything that comes into the stomach food-wise has balanced wind energy in it. Okay. Yashi ku kuku shi kuku shohoko shakuko shi shamuki kakakashi ko shi shikakuko.
Aniki.
Shakaba jindaku chichecha chumbakachi shumbachacha chunjachacha bakaya kumbakakinja kumbakakinjaka shunja shumbaka.
There we go. We're getting a lot of people now in the chat room reporting on some of their experiences. The crown opening up when Andrew was speaking, with a big whoosh of energy with Laura, then warmth when Dale was speaking. Okay. Burning in the upper and middle gut areas, tears. Okay. And a very calm. So burning in the upper gut and tears, that means you actually have something stuck in your solar plexus that is a deep emotional wound. And Rachel, this is one of those moments you can go into this emotional wound that should be dealt with in a different chakra. It's that wound is being stored there for an improper reason. For some reason, your emotional body is storing that wound in there, which is going to limit your overall capacity to act and interact with people, and it's going to want to make you be an introvert. Okay, but the tears are a good thing. That means you're beginning to let it go. Okay. So now we're going to move to the upper intestinal tract. So what I want you to see is that swirling energy of all the colors is like the eye of a hurricane. And it's going to be moving through the inside of the intestinal tract, saturating everything with the balanced 5 elements. Shi wa ka ka shi, sha ma wa ta ki, uki yata. Wakuchi shamuiga nahi kuchi hu shi wakatakashni wakata waka.
Shinya chin ka shikini kina achi koni alikini chi kana kinchana achini kini ni.
Shalakia bakunda Janakosi jila baganja jingonsa kombakanje sekokanja hua shialokumba shangu sishinda si bakunda shalakumba hushi akumba kanji shunga kango keke kunja hesa makunja lushi bashu eshewa shishu eshewa.
Very powerful energies. Okay. People are feeling gas, mouth energy, swirling waves, body fuzz, chakra spinning. Now you're beginning to experience the true catalyzing energy of what light language can do when it's focused on healing the human body. Laura, what were you feeling?
A big rush of energy going through the intestines.
Dale?
I felt like it was turning up a notch. And right, shit's going down now. It started just a lot more energy started coming in. At the start, it felt like it was subtle, but then it started to move a lot faster through it now. So it felt like a bigger release for that.
So Reese is being, I started swinging side to side, tingles and swirling in the gut. That side to side energy is something that is also represented in cranial sacral therapy It's called the rock and glide. That side to side is balancing your internal body's knowingness of what regular rhythms are. Okay. That means you were in an irregular rhythm and your body thought the irregular rhythm was regular, and you just corrected the irregular rhythm to be a regular rhythm now. That was a tongue twister. I bet you all can't do that 5 times in a row. Feeling layers and layers and penetrated, waves of energy moving from front to back in the middle of the body. Legs and hips keep shaking nonstop. So soreas, your legs and hips are keeping nonstop. What that means is you are actually having a full-on somatic release. Laura, in your cranial sacral journeys, you've seen somatic releases. Can you talk about them for a second?
Yeah, usually when we come across areas where trauma is stored, these energy cysts, and we work with the client just through asking a series of questions, and basically it's our body wisdom, talking to their body wisdom, then people start to release in different ways. But one of the ways they do release is the shakes, and the legs can go like jelly, and they can experience waves through their body. So really these energetic waves build up, and they have to have somewhere and some way of releasing. So it could be that many people can cry or cry out, or they can even sometimes do a bit of light language or do something you don't really recognize. There can sometimes be anger. Mostly it's tears, and it's a lot of body releasing. So the body is shaking and shuddering and trying to get the release out of all the fascia, all the muscles, everywhere in the body. It's just wants to shake it off. I have a particular way of releasing, and I sort of always almost do it head to foot every time, like a wave down the body. But it all depends on what they're releasing and where. But generally, sometimes
it can be full-on emotional sobbing and tearing. Evil people standing up and shaking their whole body and moving and then laying back down and not realizing they stood up and sat down, because literally the energy had to move, and it's like a lightning of energy that shoots through during these somatic releases. Dale, is there anything you want to add for somatic release?
Yeah, so it's kind of like a pop in a pimple, and it's like built up, and you're able to actually get it out. And there's many different ways of getting out. And when you find that right area, when you pop it right, and it just starts all coming out, and they can have many different, I'd say they could have different temperature as well, cold, hot, and so on. So yeah, it changes and varies for me from my own psychic surgery work and on others. There's so many different areas, and people have different releases in different ways. I've had a lot of people shaking, bodies just like literally moving really, really quick. And I've been like my hands have been going everywhere, and I'm like, right. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I've seen a lot of things. So like you both said, there's a lot of different ways it can happen.
And for those people who are having more and more burping, that means you are transmuting and transforming dense negative energy into positive beneficial energy. Burps are good, but they're also the canary in the coal mine. That means something negative has been in thy intestinal tract. And because we're working on balancing the elements here, usually that means your dreaming world, when you get into the dreaming vehicle and go off into the many different realms, you're battling something with intention. And most of our dreaming worlds, 99% of them, you shouldn't be battling anything. Unfortunately, we have family members and enemies and shit in this physical world, which we do give battle to, like the asshole bosses or the crappy dream worlds that you get trapped into from porn and all that other stuff. So my advice for you, for those that are beginning to experience their burping, it's generally the energy of others, but then when it is your energy, the burping will be it'll be a lot of your own burping energy, or you're converting an energy that's streaming into you, meaning there's an active dream world that's flushing negative energy through you. All right. So this next part, we're going to be entering the middle part of the upper intestine. This is like going on the walkway and then getting into the garage, and we're going to see the dreaming vehicle. But with this balancing energy, we're going to be going to the fuel tank in the car, the battery that's in the car. So we're going to be recharging the fuel, giving it unlimited energy, making sure that the electrical ignition system is directly connected to our central nervous system. And there's not blockages from just the mind. Oftentimes, it's the mind that will disrupt the ability to enter the dreaming vehicle and take off into different areas. So this is the walk to the garage, the opening of the door, the seeing of the spiritual vehicle, the empowering of everything in the garage, starting the car up, revving the engines, but not opening the garage doors. Okay. Sha wu ki na hi ka ka sha, yi wo ki na ha, sha wa wa ka ka shi, sha mu ki ya ka, so u mi yi jin gang gu jin, jing wong ku, shong wong na. Chakwakakakashuko.
Waiki nya chan, shan tan chin kan tan chan, chu chu kon chuka, chi kana ka, niki, chiki niki kari na, anina, niki cha, kine cha, chinka.
Yesu ainja kumbaka shangusi je shukemba shakana kuwe shekungaka shumbawahia sukemba chinakinga changakunga shalakemba kunje kasitelo talabawa shanakunge hashita kumbaka.
Now, powerful energies there. Now, someone in the chat room is this supposed to be somewhat uncomfortable, referring to the shaking? It can be uncomfortable. It could also be very painful. And that what that's telling you is the denseness of energy or the denseness of the attachment that might have hooks into your central nervous system. The body is shaking and moving because it's trying to let something go. Okay. And as it builds up the shaking frequency, the hook will come out, the string will break, so on and so forth. Okay, so uncomfortableness is the level of uncomfortableness telling you is how big the subject matter that you're letting go is. Okay, Laura, what were you feeling from filling up the gas in the dreaming vehicle and so on and so forth?
I felt I was putting in super gas.
Yes,
and ancestral gas, so that that the dreaming body could go to the ancestors without the clog of the carbohydrate backlog.
There you go.
With I was giving it the protein boost.
There you go, the protein boost.
I felt like I was recharging a battery, but putting lots of essence into that battery and filling it up with all this energy to go out to the dreaming world. So it was kind of like, giving that extra energy, which was really cool.
Great. Frida's saying, after Andrew, my back straightened and stayed and my head and spine alignment continued because you needed the elemental balancing, because right now with the elemental balancing that we're doing from stomach to intestinal tract is feeding the entire meridian system. Okay. That just means you work in a job where you've got to spend a lot of your good meridian based energies, a lot of your energies in just doing your job. Okay. And that's not a bad thing. It's just the nature of how life is. You use up your elemental energy very fast. And now you're replenishing all of your elemental reserves and balancing everything. That's why your spine straightened up and then your head went back into alignment and all that continued because you finally had the right elemental balance to keep yourself in alignment.
Andrew, could we do this like every night to charge up our dreaming body ourselves with light language?
Absolutely, you can. Absolutely. Remember, light language is for catalyzation. But I will say this, light language before you go to sleep is going to activate the brain and then activate a lot of the spirit, which might make it harder to go back to actual sleep. Okay? So believe it or not, light language, first thing when you get up in the morning, great. It will activate and catalyze. Can you use it any time of the day? Yes. It is a multi-tool. But just remember, light language is a catalyst. And if you do a little too much, it might be hard for you to actually get to sleep. All right, so we've now empowered the dreaming vehicle, and now we're going to be entering the cavernous lower intestine. Here is where we have to go from a category 3 hurricane to a category 5 hurricane of light, sound, frequency, and vibration. Okay. And what we're doing here is everything that the lower intestinal tract holds, which is our 80% of our immune system is stored there, and all the gut genomes and biomes that we use, all of that needs to be elementally balanced also. All the symbiotic entities, yes, symbiotic molds and viruses. Yes, we have viruses in our intestinal tract that help us break down food. Okay. All of that needs to be elementally balanced also. So the entire probiotic system, the entire antibiotic system, the entire probiotic internals plus the intestinal walls need to be balanced with all 5 elements. Washi ku kukaka, shana waka, shi hunakaka washni, uko ki moyi kana kuku, ushika, shakusha, maya kaka shunaka, shawaka.
Ani kanchion konyocho. Achini kinch. Aiki kani kicha kanchi kani kitna akina achina achika achi kaicha.
Isho asinja kuwanja lakam bakitu hesanga kunje ha shanda kumbaka chikonga shalaku asila boa shanaku ashia kuachia he ha chuan baki shunga chi akumba.
Very powerful. So the balancing of all the symbiotic relationships and the element of symbiotic relationships to the internal probiotic system, that is a very powerful set of words that you will begin to process. All of those symbiotic things that are inside us, all the probiotics, the gut genomes, have now been elementally balanced. What do you think that's going to do for the greater you? Laura? Dale? Anybody have an idea what it might do with the full elemental balancing of all the symbiotic entities within our intestinal tract?
Bringing you clarity again.
Yeah.
Bringing you a form of groundedness in yourself and who you are.
Clearer dream world.
Yep.
Greater immune system.
Uh-huh. All right. With that being said, now we must focus on the sphincter, the lower third eye. Okay. What we're going to be doing here is creating this category 5 hurricane in the intestinal tract. And this is the sphincter. And the eye of the hurricane has to line up directly with the sphincter, and like a key entering a keyhole and activating the tumblers, the light from the hurricane will activate the sphincter's tumblers and give it all of the balancing energy of all of the elements. So the sphincter itself, we are plugging it in to the hurricane of energy, and all of the energy from the hurricane will go into the sphincter and all of its rings. And then like an implosion, like a boom, the sphincter will compress all that energy, and then it'll spread out around your waist and your hips and then compact back on itself. And we're going to want this to do this 6 or 7 times. So all of that, the sphincter is absorbing through the tumbler all of that category 5 hurricane energy into the very cellular structure and mitochondrial power plants there. So we're giving it intense, high voltage, high frequency elemental balancing to the point it creates an explosion of energy and then an implosion. The explosion and implosion is the same thing what happens when our sphincter opens, closes, open, closes, open, closes. And every time it's opening and closing and you actually have fecal matter there, it's cutting it off. And there are times that you run into some very hard pieces that damages the sphincter. And what we're doing is sharpening the energetic blades with the sphincter, the elemental balancing here. So you got to think of it like a cigar cutter. We're really enhancing the sphincter muscle itself to cut off petrified chunks or to open up and not cause tearing so that we can get rid of bigger pieces. Okay. Shawuki kakashiku uyetaku anawakakashi shohumiiga wakisha nakakashi shomugi nahiko koshwa shawuki naha iko ni hakishmokukash shakunataka shanaka kashu shawakati shanaka shawakunata shinka shonkun shinka nokusha.
Sharinda in Chanyun, Jan Kan, Shakan Shinko, Shinko, in Shinki, a Chinko, a Chinko, a Chinki, Gakalila, China, Kanina, New China, Kai, Aiki Kayana, Jinkai Cha, Ikai Chow, Aki Ka Cha.
Shao e sakangunji chambakangu shinja sikangunji ha shumbakanji sukinga ku shakanga kune salakama wa kindo homaga ngunge hunge shambakinjo sundala kumba shakumbakia shule sega bakuna kaka.
Powerful energies. So we've got people in the chat room responding. I was exhausted before doing this, but I feel much more energized. From all of these, I went into an instant, deep meditative state. Deep. One sneeze on the last one. Okay. It's like counter hijacking the system, and it is very beneficial for the system, for your own internal systems. Laura, what was it like for you with that explosive energy there?
Yeah, there were certain waves which actually was coming through my body, just waves of energy pulsating through there. Felt very powerful. The language actually just seems to shift it.
Yes, it catalyzes. Once again, catalyze.
Yeah.
Dale, what about for you?
I felt like a pulsating from the top going all the way down. It was like boom, 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 going all the way down to it. It was really cool.
Somebody's body temperature is going up. Body temperature going up is meaning you've just balanced something that was very wrong in the intestinal tract at the probiotics level, meaning you probably had something like candida or some other fungus that was greatly imbalanced, and you just balanced it. You took away the energy that was making it from going for hypergrowth, and the raising of your body temperatures, meaning you're producing a tremendous amount of stem cells when you're going into a healing state. So, whoa, blood just rushed into the anus and vaginal area. Oh, you definitely went through a very powerful healing then. If you're getting an extreme flush of blood down there, meaning it's removing some stored toxins that have been stuck there for a long time. See, when we do these interactive shows, catalyzed frequency, look at the type of work that's done. The sacral pulsing, the cranial sacral pulsing. Everybody's getting different effects. The burping, we had a person with a full somatic release. That's a powerful healing that's going on here. And this is the wisdom of spirit of light language. It's not just galactic babble between people. And unfortunately, a lot of the light worker communities out there, they just galactic babble and don't realize what you can do with light language. What
Andrew, if
does
you had candy,
what does itchy eye mean? So are we itchy lower third eye or itchy eye? If one
The
has an
brown
itchy
eye.
butt, that actually means that you're probably having food. This is going to have to be graphic, where you probably have a worm energy, a physical worm, and it's boring in and out of the outer parts of the anus or the glands that are there. And what it means is it'd probably be a good idea for you to do some type of antibiotic, whether it's going to be golden seal or something that's going to up your level. Not histamine is the wrong word. Up the levels of your immune system. So, anybody else wish to share anything? Internal huge fart feeling sounded like it too. Okay. Okay. The wind energy is beginning to build something up and transmute it from wind to fire to air to earth. And as you begin this elemental transmutation process, it'll give you a more long-term balancing. So anyone that's yawn, that means you've entered super high frequency. How yawns always mean the presence of very high frequency. Jackie is saying it feels like the post fast cleanse feeling. Exactly. We've just balanced everything here. Ka-thunk, ka-thunk. Some boulders are moving. So much going on in the body, actually feel more energized. Wonderful. Okay. So what time is it now? So let's open up to calls. So if you are wanting to talk about what just happened as an experience, talk about light language in general, we want you to go ahead and raise your hand. If you are on YouTube or Facebook or listening anywhere else, you have to be in the Zoom room to be selected. So we're going to go ahead and ask everybody to go ahead and just raise your hand, and we will start doing calls. I have this feeling if I were to add 2, 3, or 4 more techniques, we might have everybody shitting up a storm for a month.
Andrew,
Okay, we've got some very powerful reactions here. So any of you that have been in the chat rooms of having reactions, go ahead and raise your hand. Talk to us. Use this time where you get to talk to all of us and go through the nature of your experience and share your things so other people can learn too. All
Andrew,
right.
Are we going to be talking about the event coming up in? Did you want to wait till the end?
Wait.
Yeah.
All right. So you guys are going to choose, not me. That is the new rule with the new shows.
Laura, you can go first.
Sorry, can you say that again?
Choose who's going to be picked.
Oh, sorry. Okay, whose hand up? April. Now, if I was saying that, I'd say April St. August.
Yeah.
You have to say it in a smooth voice as well when you.
Oh, so sorry.
That works. Thank you very much.
Hi,
My name is
April.
April. Hello.
Where are you calling from?
St. Augustine, Florida.
St. Augustine,
Oh.
Florida. How are you feeling now?
I am feeling, enlightened. Well, that's not the word. I feel like it's going to be a moving experience. I have some energy. I have it moving around and I can feel it going through. So it's kind of exciting. When we first started, I had big pressure at the top of my, below my breast, right at the top of my stomach. And it's almost like I mentally wanted to push it down. And, but I just sat with the process. So thank you. Thank you all three and every other soul and source and energy that was involved in this process today.
And so how are you feeling now after it?
I feel a little bloated. I feel like I'm going to have to go release some of this soon, which I think is a wonderful report. I I feel clogged a little bit still if I think about it on the left side. It just kind of feels a little heavier down here. And so maybe I'll get up and do some more grounding exercise after a while, and the process will continue.
So do you do light language regularly for yourself then at all?
I do not. I know that it is my natural language. I hope to open up to it, and I've only just recently started participating and watching it happen.
Laura, anything you want to ask?
Well, I was going to ask that about the light language, but do you do any out loud work at all, like a revocation or something?
I do my own affirmations, and then when I am ready to what I call launch a rocket, like I've got a heartfelt desire to manifest, I actually will let it out into the universe. I don't know what my underlying fear is that's preventing me from just opening my mouth and allowing it to come from deep down.
So that type of blockage is an external belief of persecution. You will be persecuted for speaking in the vile tongue. And it's something that's just in your DNA, goes back many generations. And you have to come to terms with, you will not be persecuted for doing it in the privacy of your own home.
And so your suggestion would be for me just to be in my little 12 by 12 office, shut the door.
And give yourself permission, actually give yourself a full-on written permission slip to experience and do without resistance.
And probably find a YouTube, something to put some music on, or just stand.
Don't worry about music in the beginning. Just worry about the power of your own voice and to not sound meek. Actually got some word strength, some power behind the words.
I understand that concept, because even in church, when I used to go, I would not allow myself the voice to come through and sing to the, so I got to work through my own little, in my own room.
And start recording yourself as well and listening to yourself at the start and how you change and how you can open up and let it rip a bit more each time.
And try and take your brain down to your heart. So visualize the two halves of your brain, left and right, over your heart before you start to talk, because then because your voice is between your brain and your heart, and then you'll have them both coming forward when you speak.
I know how to do that. Thank you.
I've had to try and find my voice over many years, and you do have to dig deep for it, but that digging deep is a journey and a learning, but it is all through the heart connection and the joy behind it, and the feeling of finding you and being happy with who you are right now, not other people's versions of you, but being happy with who you are. Sometimes you have to look in the mirror and say, hey, I'm great. I'm I deserve this. I've earned this. I've done some rites of passage, whatever they are. And I'm going to feel good about myself, and I'm not going to hide my voice anymore, because I'm worth hearing. And I'm worth listening to. And I have something to say that's valid. You've come on this show today. That's amazing. You put your hand up. You've already got a voice. You just need to practice it a bit more. And then just when you feel in a really relaxed state, then just let the energies move through you and come out and you'll form your light language. Doesn't have to be like anybody else's, and you don't even have to understand what you're saying. It's just giving yourself like Andrew says, the go ahead to do it.
Time to pick up the talking stick, but instead of the talking stick, the light language stick.
Yes.
My
It's
inner
passed to
last
you.
thing, my inner child, I can see her already going around with her big, I got this,
There you
doing
go.
it.
Let's
So,
go on, girl.
Yeah.
I just need to get on with it. So thank you so much for your time.
You're welcome, darling. Thanks a lot for calling in.
Thank you.
Thank you, April.
All right, Dale, pick the next one.
So we are going to go with Elizabeth. I'm giving you the signal to unmute.
Hi,
Hi, where are you calling from?
I'm calling from, hold on, wait. I'm not a multitasker. There we go. I'm calling
Hello.
from Southern California. Hi.
Welcome to the show. What did you experience during the show today?
A lot. I've had a lot of pain in my lower back and low belly for some days. I don't know what that is, but it was really hurting towards the beginning of. Then I shifted positions. You continued with what you were sharing, gifting us. And now it's not gone, but it isn't feeling as like a traffic jam.
A lot of the detour signs are down and you're back to somewhat of a more regular flow.
Yeah, like there's a lot of movement in my body right now. And I'm sweating because I'm like, I'm very sensitive. So I feel all, not just the three of you, but everyone that's observing. And I don't know how to explain that, but it's like I can feel everybody's energy, and that's very intense.
Yes, that's the catalyzing aspect. So when the three of us are speaking and you guys are experiencing, there is a light language coming back to us. You're just not realizing that you are creating a light language just through your experiencing of it. And there is a chorus of healing energy going on here when we're doing this. And
Absolutely.
that sweat is a purging of, I don't even want to call it negative, just a non-connection that suddenly has a connection. And the sweat is just getting rid of all this anxiety and worry about the non-connection. Okay? It's like the circuit's complete and the sweating is just getting rid of all that anxiety from not connecting.
Yeah. The anxiety of not connecting.
Exactly. There's the words for you. Those are the words you needed. The anxiety of not connecting. Okay.
Woo. So I'm very grateful that whoever that was it Dale that chose me? I'm grateful because I took notes on what you asked to share. And I'm wondering, this is a general question about light language, which when I initially heard you guys, I'm laughing because I'm laughing because my heart is like explosive with joy in a beautiful way. It's like singing and dancing, and my brain up here is like a curmudgeon, like like it has all this crap to say. And I'm laughing because I'm at the point where I can sort of be like behind it, watching my heart and my mind and the incongruence and with amusement, which is fun. My question is, I lived in upstate New York, and the water up there is just, wow, it's magical. So I would go by there's so many creeks and ponds, and it dances. When you lay in the water just dances at you. And I could just see the crystals and beauty in the water, and it would invoke in me song that I think is my light language, my brain having trouble being open to the concept.
Let's
all the
redefine
time.
that. Most of that talk, the negative talk, isn't your brain. It's a program that's living inside your central nervous system. When we're true egoic talking, it's a different form of self-deprecation. what you're actually talking about, all of that, that's the programs inside you. The ones that don't want to be persecuted, the ones that don't want to grow, the ones that want you to be their way and no other way, the parts of you that never grew up, the rebel without a cause. That's why you're able to observe it, because it's not actually the brain. It's a program. And now that you can tell it's a program, you can target each one of them one by one by one by one and disempower them.
They're feeling naked right now.
Yeah, they're exposed. They're like, oh, fuck.
Spotlight. Boop.
Yep.
Oh, that was great. I've been reading your all the revocations. Ooh, my heart's palpitating, like beating really hard.
It's because we catalyzed you.
Yeah, it was good. That's why I paused to receive it.
All your colors are changing. This is cool to watch. Oh, there you go. Just let it go. Let it fall.
I'm slowly learning over time not to run over my body. So thank you for your patience in that.
Yeah, to not hit the speed bumps at 80 miles an hour.
Yes.
Most light workers, they see a speed bump, they speed up.
Launch.
Exactly.
Elizabeth's voice changed as well, Andrew. Did you notice that?
Oh yeah, I saw that. So I saw her
Yeah.
her colors changing. Yeah.
And I'm sweating even more.
Yeah.
Which is good. I love it. It feels good. I give myself a written permission slip to feel it.
There you go.
So this, I think, I finished answering that question. The second question that I had is that belief in self and belief in what I know without thought to be true. And you phrased it, the projections of, so I'm working with the betrayals one. That's the most recent one that I've added. And ay.
Okay. Okay. That was a program inside you that tried to take over and you resisted it. One that wanted you to not go down this avenue of healing because it knows if you do, it loses power. The one that loves you to be a miserable bitch because of the betrayals. Okay? You just beat it. You just took power back from it. And now you got to get a little angry and go, I see you, cunt. Say it to her.
See you ungrateful bitch. Stay away from me. Want you anymore. You ruin everything that's good in my life. And everything is good.
And now I'm firing you. Taking away the apartment keys and car.
No car, no access to my bank account, no access to my energy field. You're not welcome in my house. You can't talk to anyone I know or love or care about. Gone.
Yeah. You're out on the spiritual streets.
Goodbye.
You're homeless. Okay. It slammed the door on the way out and going, I'll be back, bitch. That's what I just said. Okay.
I love you, but no.
No, you
Thank
won't.
you.
Change the locks. Yeah.
I am so tired of that, whatever that was. I don't want it. Program.
Just a program. Just something you created as a coping mechanism because the pain was too much. And it became your long-term torturer because the pain you were experiencing in the beginning was so intense, you empowered a program to slow the pain down over years instead of hours. The pain was too much in the beginning for you. So you assigned a self-torturer to stretch out the pain so you could live during the days. That's what that was. We all do this. It's natural human journeys. Part of the way we fracture ourselves.
And I can let it go now.
Sure, and fire it. Take away its severance package.
That seems kind of mean.
Disempower it. Yeah.
You can allow unconditional love of yourself to come back in, Elizabeth.
How do I do that?
Connect to your heart and feel it flow through, filling up all the spaces that program took. Allow yourself to receive the love of yourself. Faith in your own self-love and your own sovereignty. You don't need the program. You have a far better resource of your heart. Nothing can take that from you. It's yours. It beats for you.
Shaking like a leaf.
Yep. What do you do for a job?
This and nothing. But I'm do you mean what do I do for money, or what
Yeah,
am I
what do you
like?
do for money? Yeah, what do you do for money?
It's really random, and I think it has to do with that cunt that I just fired, because I can make money really easily, but if I know it, then I block it.
What do you do to make money?
Well, the last 2 years I've bought and sold vintage RVs. Like just random.
So you can sell, you can do something. It's not like you're not an office worker or something to that effect.
No.
Exactly. You just fired the bitch that stops you from doing this. Okay. And what I want you to do now is to see vintage RVs inside your intestinal tract. And I want you to dream about all the potential RVs that want you to come and own them, fix them up, and sell them. Because that bitch, all her shit's got to get expunged too. Her books that she has laying around, her jewelry and artwork all has to get expunged too. And you got to redecorate the inside of your intestinal tract with making some money, because making money right now in this physical world will absolutely change your mental health and wellness. Okay, you need these victories, and you got to start dreaming about the potential ways for you to make some money. And it's not because you're poor or broken on the side of the road. It's because right now, this is what you need at the stage of your life so you can fund some stronger spiritual journeys and healings for yourself. Okay? You can fund yourself to take trips around the world and go into spiritual places and meet spiritual people, do spiritual practices and learn new techniques. And all it is finding trailers and reselling them. Okay. And if you're damn good at that or anything else that's buying and selling stuff, put them in your intestinal chart and start asking the universe to go from 10 degrees of separation to 1 degree of separation. Bring the post to you. Okay. She was blocking your abundance and spending the money that you had that you didn't have to spend on things. She did a lot of to-go food for herself. Okay?
Yeah.
And never fed you.
Absolutely. I'm
Didn't
always
even give
wondering, like,
didn't even give you a fucking French fry.
yeah. Like, why can't I save money was always a question. Like, what?
Right.
I don't think I'm like the last RV that I sold. I was like, okay, I'm just going to sit on this. And then it's like still spending money on stuff. Even though I don't need anything right now. I have everything I need in this perfect little apartment to sit here and do my inner work. And that bitch was sitting here trying to get me to spend that money.
Yes.
All
On
of it. She
something
wanted me
that
to
wasn't
spend all of
spiritual.
it.
On shit that wasn't spiritually advancing for you.
Yep.
Okay.
Absolutely. Is this going to be recorded?
Oh, it is recorded. Yes.
Okay. Thank God. Because in case that cunt comes back, I need to be able to listen to this again.
It's on Andrew's YouTube page, Facebook as well. And I'd recommend looking at Amanda and Trent's videos as well and looking back at some of the techniques you can use, what we did on that show as well for yourself.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thanks for calling in. I'm sure you helped a lot of people go through some of the stuff that they were going through. You're welcome. Thanks a lot.
Take it easy.
All right,
Elizabeth.
so let's choose Santo next. Yes, I'm choosing a person. I don't have. Wait, I can. Sorry, Santo. Signal to unmute. Did we lose him?
Can you hear
There we
me,
are.
Andrew?
Yes, we can hear you. How you doing, Santo?
Oh man, this is such a big session today. I'm
You had
kind of just
burping.
still
You had also, you had burping. All sorts of good stuff going on.
Oh,
What was
God.
it?
Let me take a few breaths first, because I'm just still processing that Elizabeth story. Because what she sort of processed was so, I think, relevant, particularly the issue of programs that we hold on to. And it connected directly with what we were doing prior to that, because the light language you and the others were going through was really kind of ripping at those programs. And it's very difficult to acknowledge it, particularly when it's with, those entangled beings that you have to be very, very brave, have a lot of courage to be able to acknowledge that it's a program. And that's where I could see the similarities with what Elizabeth was saying, that we all individually have these very powerful entanglements that it's not that easy to follow a script and just see it as a program. There's so many more layers to it. But Laura, that revocation to doom and gloom, oh, that was fantastic. I've spread that far and wide.
Thank you. Thanks.
And the solstice, we had a fire on our cliff, and I invited like-minded, and one of them read it over the fire. It was very moving, and he took it and shared it. And the interesting thing was, I just found it very powerful. And I read it once with some other like-minded people. And towards the end of it, words wouldn't come out. It was just very moving. And the interesting thing was, I shared it with my children, and some of them got it. But my son got very triggered. And it's interesting the way it happened, because he was a professional muso, and during this whole Rona period, he got sick of the struggle. But he's a very, very good musician. He was director of a cruise company's music team and all the rest. But so he's followed my footsteps of the past and gone into IT. But during this holiday period, he had some time, and he thought he'd just go back into music. And there's some very good local musicians, and he was going to perform with them actually tonight. And I've played with him because I play music, and he said, "Hey, Dad, will you get up on stage and do a few numbers with us?" I said, "Sure." And this was before I'd sent him the revocation. And then we were having a phone call last week, and I mentioned the revocation and said, "You could do your own version of a doom and gloom revocation." And I had no, sort of nothing other than very positive a way of looking at it. And there was a group message with all of the kids and everyone going about other things. And he wrote a very long, sort of difficult response to, "Don't do that. And, I think differently. I respect you," and that sort of thing. And it obviously really triggered him. Now, that can be interpreted as good or bad. But I'll ask you, Andrew, how do you see that relationship between me, my son, the tremendous, you could say, gut issues I have? Despite having colonics, I still suffer badly in the gut. And revocations.
Let me help you out here. You invested so much into him that isn't paying back what you wanted in the dividends of connectivity. Unfortunately, this happens with children. And when he was writing back, it was a rejection of your fatherly energy and the teachings you wanted to instill in him. Because the path that he is on is a non-spiritual path compared to what you're on. And he chooses to have a relationship with you, but doesn't want your subject matter to be more than 44% of the conversation. And I use the term 44 for a specific reason, meaning 66% of the time he wants to be in charge of the conversation with you. And you are a classic, Italian father who likes to be 85% of the conversation and then give the child the chance to be the 85% of the conversation. And it's a back and forth, not of egos, but of position and placement of who has the wisdom, who's sharing the wisdom, et cetera, et cetera. And in his situation, he doesn't want it to operate there. He wants him to be in charge of the conversations because your spiritual teachings threaten his little white picket fence world. And he's on the edge of breaking down mentally because he had visions that he had when he was younger, and he denied them and shut them down and didn't tell anyone about them.
You're so on point, Andrew. That's exactly. I know that. So what I ask is, when you're in that 44% or whatever exchange, how do you define those relationships? Are you being authentic? And how do you be true to yourself? Do you just be a good listener? is maybe the question.
Here is where the uniqueness of the step on another person's journey rule can work to your favor.
Right.
Because 44% is not passive. Okay. It's just,
Right.
it's 6% less than 50-50. So he's
Exactly.
he's basically saying we can be just under 50-50 together. That's not a bad thing. Okay. That just means when you have subject matters that you want to do at 85, you can only do them at 44.
Yeah, and it's just kind of a glass half full, glass half empty.
It's going to be
that's
perceptive.
exactly-
Yeah. So you can't take the Sicilian authority culture energy. You just got to be dad.
Yeah, I've been trying to do that for years and years. A lot of lessons.
It's hard. It's hard to separate the Greek out of me. Let me tell you.
Yeah.
Okay. It's hard. Okay.
Yeah.
So just
It's a
being
big
plain,
lesson.
right? It's a big lesson. So just being plain old Santo at 44 means you can still converse about anything, but you can't be authentically fully empowered to the point where your frequency will change perception, because he doesn't want your frequency to change his perception because his reality is that fragile.
Yeah, look, you tell me everything I know. It's putting it into practice. And that's why I really appreciated this morning's session. A question I've got to all of you is, light language, maybe I'm a little bit too heady, but I've had experience where I wake up in the middle of the night and I'm babbling and I think, well, what am I doing?
Light language.
But then I think of, and it's probably the religious programming too, because I think, oh, hang on, I've seen lunatics wave their hands and speak in tongues. And I think, and they have deluded themselves to think they're talking Holy Spirit language, and maybe they are, and it's a different type of light language. But is there a program in us that creates resistance to even exploring light language because of the negative programs around tongues and all that sort of thing?
Yes, absolutely. Yes.
Okay.
The fear of persecution. The fear of persecution. The term talking in tongues is in the original Bibles, and in all of the major religions have it. Some see it as positive, some see it negative. From the Christian point of view, the Muslim point of view, and the Israel point of view, talking in tongues is the work of the devil. But they labeled it the work of the devil because it was the pagans, the things that weren't Christians, that talked in tongues, because they were born with a light language. And they knew when they went into the natural flow, they can call upon the wisdom of the light language to empower their internal wisdoms. Okay? And oftentimes there was an offensive light language too, that people would learn to use an offensive energy against people. Kind of like, when the Italians go into their poetic swearing, okay?
Yeah.
Okay? But this is an attack energy behind it. And oftentimes tongues that were defined by the Christians, it's because you tortured the shit out of someone and they turned that light language to become aggressive. But yeah, light language can be weaponized in certain types of personalities. Is it full light language at that point? No. It's not the 1,000,000-letter alphabet. It's maybe the 1,000-letter alphabet. But that's more than enough to harm a soul on the other side. That's why we call it cursing, swearing at people. You're fucking their energy up in such a way that's discombobulating them for long term.
Yeah, and that, I think, is something that seems to get in the way of being able to even approach light language in the way it was done today, because, particularly being from a culture that's deeply embedded with superstitions, whether it's doing the evil eye or all sorts of superstitions that have connotations of curses. Because even while you were just talking there, man, my tummy was rumbling. I was actually shaking. So I think there's obviously powerful embedded, there's power behind
Yes, there
some
is.
of these curses that we have either had put upon us or put upon others,
or put upon
you know,
ourselves, or put upon ourselves.
or put upon ourselves. And it's very confronting to work through it in order to get beyond it. You know, it kind of is, geez, you know, like my tummy's rumbling like crazy at the moment.
It's because we
So
catalyzed something inside you to let go of an attachment that was energy you're holding in your intestinal tract, probably with your son. You're trying to force a dreaming world with him, and he's rejecting it. And you're just holding up all these old dreaming worlds you used to share naturally together. You're keeping them open when they should have naturally just closed down as a realm long ago.
Yeah, exactly. But it's not just one individual. I think we're all
It's
got
many.
these-
It's many. It's just
Yeah,
telling
yeah.
you that you've overstored others' energy, and it's time to empty out some of the filing cabinets. You don't need the filing cabinets from 42 years ago anymore.
No, but they continue to. It's a very interesting thing to be able to say, "Oh, spend more time with like-minded," but like speaking personally, when you're surrounded by a family that's still very, very large and deeply entangled in, you know, sort of the Catholic culture, and then having a very difficult kind of personal family relationship and breakup, where those wounds and traumas, even though you think or you do work through them individually, you get through them, and you add to the complication. My partner's family is in the Jehovah Witness cult, and she deals with the trauma of the shunning that is. It's a terrible kind of way that we treat each other, in the hijacked nature of the way we're harvested in a way. And when you kind of see it, it's not that easy to just step away. You know, there is a path of loneliness in some ways, but there's a path of fulfillment as well. And getting that balance can be quite schizophrenic sometimes, because you feel you're making progress, but then something just draws you to a point of trauma that needs resolution. And that's why I found the this morning's session very practical, but I don't personally identify how to do light language, but I can feel it. But it felt more powerful because I had a whole series of colonics that didn't have the same effect that this morning's session had. So it obviously has something there that is powerful, you know. So there is a kind of some sort of recognition at a personal level. Yeah, this is working, but I don't understand the spiritual mechanics of it, you could say.
Catalyzation is the spiritual mechanics.
What
You're
is so?
using frequency, vibration, and manifestation in this reality from the 1 million letter alphabet and condensing it into a set of enunciations and pronunciations that are designed to catalyze and make energy in motion that is stagnant. That is its purpose. That is light language's purpose. Whether you're working on connecting to others, yourself, whatever you're using the light language for, it's to take energy that's in a very slower motion, 9-volt energy, and hook it to the 440 super industrial circuits.
Mm.
Catalyze,
Yeah.
advance it. It's meant to you know, the metaphorical of the strap on the horse with the wagon. It's going to go faster and faster, stoking the engine, putting more coal in it. It's to get it to move.
Yeah, yeah. And it's something that needs practice, I know.
Right,
So
'cause
I really
it
thank you guys.
It activates higher consciousness, a greater awareness, greater knowingness, because when you have that higher energy flowing through you, all the higher energy techniques that are unavailable to you because they're 9-volt battering it suddenly are there.
Yeah, I'm just waiting for, you know, the talking heads on CBS or CBN to suddenly start
Burst
talking
out light language.
You know, just spontaneously, their head spins, you know,
Yeah.
they start doing it. Yeah,
Well,
you know, because,
Santo, all you got to do is once a week, give yourself light language an attempt, or wherever you're on your morning walk, whatever. just give yourself the permission slip for the next 5 minutes. You don't need to know what you're saying. It doesn't matter. Knowing that it's going to catalyze and alchemize and move things through faster through your body. Okay, like I said, like I just said, you could focus it on your intestinal tract to help you digest your personal foods, let go of attachments, add greater wisdoms, have better dreaming space.
Yeah, the experiences is what counts. And what hit it home to me, it really hit me, was the news about Robert. I was just like, found it very hard to process that.
Yep.
The fragility of life here and the complexities of how we experience it is just infinite. And I don't know, it's the full spectrum. Let's say it's the full spectrum.
He went really fast, 2 months.
I couldn't, when I heard that, I couldn't process it, because I've been having lots of emails exchanges for him not long before that. And I'm like, what is going on here? And that's the mysteries of life are amazing, where you think you're connected and you think you've got, and out of left field, there's all sorts of stuff. But I really felt that one with Robert.
Me too. I did too.
But thank you, Andrew. Thank you, Laura.
Thank you for
Dale.
calling in, Santo. You were always
Thank
great
you,
to talk
Santo.
to, and you helped a lot of people out there too.
Thank you. Have a wonderful day, guys.
You too.
Take care, bro.
Thank you.
Well,
Bye.
guys, I think what's going to call this to an end to the show. But right now, I just want to say thank you to everyone that has been in the show. And for those people that have raised their hand, we'll be back next week. You get to raise your hand again. So any last words, Laura or Dale?
No, it was great. Thank you very much. Really enjoyed it. Really shifted some things. Lovely to see all the comments in the chat. Do you want to say anything at this stage about the Scotland bus tour?
Oh, yes. Totally forgot. That's what my transmission was meant to be.
I was going to say,
an end from taking calls and a transition into the Scotland fucking bus tour.
Poke, poke.
We were wondering. Okay, go on, Dale. You organised it. You can deliver the good news.
Okay, so on the 1st of July, we are going to be doing a 10-day bus tour around Scotland. And anything you want to add, Laura, to that? We'll do it. We'll all take a turn.
We'll be putting posts out, but for the moment we have an email, scotlandbustours@twofeathers@gmail.com. So that's like an express sign up. So you can register your interest, and we can at some stage send you the details, send you the itinerary, and so on, because we've just got the information through today. So we're busy working on obviously getting out the promotions for it and so on. But that is an express sign up. So that's Scotland Bus Tour at
Can you
Feathers
type
with the number.
Can you type that
I
into
can
the
put
chat?
it in the chat. Yes, I will do.
We'll put it onto YouTube as well.
All we need is we need your name, full name and email, and please a request, just use one email, because sometimes people come in with different emails. Just use the one all the way through the correspondence. The itinerary looks amazing. I can't believe we're going to cover so much. Scottish Highlands, Orkney, across the water to Skye, Isle of Lewis, Isle of Harris, and we're going down, I think, to Iona, aren't we, and coming back at Oban, the whiskey place. And there's more than sacred sites and standing stones. We've got all sorts of things. We're visiting the what I call the Harry Potter Bridge at Glenfinnan. Oh, there's loads, so much. And starting off
we'll
in
have
Edinburgh.
live access to the Galactic Historian as well, face to face, as we go through
Oh,
that
there is
site.
that.
You'll be able to poke.
there
You'll be
is
able
that.
to poke me, no problem.
and just to let
It is
everyone
awesome.
know as well, we've only got 26 spaces altogether available, so it's a first come first serve basis. So if you're wanting to come on or interested, drop an email, because there's only a limited amount of spaces for this. It's quite hard to get accommodation in certain areas in Scotland.
And there's also limited single rooms. Okay, because we will be going into places where you're literally in the middle of nowhere island, and the amount of hotels that are there are very limited. So I believe we only have, I think, 4 total single rooms. So if you're a person that wants a single room all the way through, this is why we set up the express sign up so that we can get people who want single rooms.
Yeah, I'm just double checking the email as I type it in.
Laura, do you actually, or Dale, do you guys actually want to read what's on the itinerary?
Yeah, so I'll quickly go through it. So
Yeah,
day
do
one,
that.
we'll start in Edinburgh and we'll go to Inverness. Where Inverness is, so there's a womb chakra coming down Inverness towards Ireland as well. So we'll be going past Loch Ness. Day 2, we'll be going Inverness to Kirkwall. Day 3 will be in Orkney. Day 4, we'll go from Kirkwall to Ullapool. And day 5 will be at the Isle of Lewis and go see the Stone Circle. And day 6 will be the Isle of Harris and Skye. So day 7, we'll have a day of rest because the bus driver got to rest on that day, but we'll be in the Isle of Skye for a full day. So we'll be able to go around and see it and spend a lot of time at the Isle of Skye, which will be really fucking cool. Sorry for swearing. Then we'll go to day 8, the Isle of Skye to Oban, and we'll be going to a whiskey distillery place as well, which will be mega cool. And day 9 will be at Mull, Iona and Stafford. Then day 10 will be Oban to Edinburgh as well. So it's jam-packed, full of different areas. And this is the only tour, one of the only tour buses in Scotland which actually go to the islands. Most of them just stay within the Scotland itself and don't go off the islands. So this is very special to find one like this. So yeah, it'll be really, really cool.
Yeah, there's no other tours that actually do all those, because all the other ones we investigated won't do Orkney and Skye, the outer and inner Hebrides. They just won't do it because they think it's too much. But
Right.
we can do it.
We worked really hard on this, and when we finally we waited 3 months to get a final contract from these guys, and we know that businesses are tough right now and they're trying to get their contracts. But everyone, it is official. This is the fast sign up. All we got to do is, now that we've got the final contract, we'll put up the website. But this is for people that want to do the express sign up. Laura put the email in there. It's Scotland Bus Tours #2feathers@gmail.com. We will put that in the show description also. So we request you to use one email to contact us. We have had a issue where a lot of you have 2, 3, or 4 emails, and you do your spiritual stuff with one email and then it accidentally goes on another. We're going to really ask that you really stick with one email. So if we're contacting you, that there's one email to work with, not 3 or 4. In the years of me doing this, I've encountered this over and over again. So please use one email to contact us all the way through. So yes, Iona, Dodgerland, yes, 10 days. And we would begin July. The tour actually begins the 1st of July.
Yeah, and we're all on one coach. So as Dale said, you'll have access to all of
we'll
us.
have 2 tour guides. We'll have one tour guide who will be talking about the history. Then we'll have the Galactic History from Andrew. So we'll have 2 guides on the
Akashic record reader. Yeah.
And I'm
we've
sure
got a
we'll
local
have
tour guide.
Yeah, we'll have plenty of places that we'll be able to do ceremony and conversations and just really get into the in-depth of the unique journey that we can all have.
Yeah, these are unique places.
So some of the places we'll go to as well. So we'll be at the Whiskey Distillery, Dunrobin Castle. We'll be at the Italian Chapel, the Skara Brae, the Black House Village, which is really beautiful. The Colonics, Standing Stones, Armadale Castle Gardens, Stafford boat trip. So there's lots of different experiences and different things we'll be doing. It won't be just the same thing. There's a bit of a mix up of stuff as well.
Yeah.
Light language karaoke on the bus.
Is Santo saying he can sing it but not speak it? Is that what you're saying?
There you go.
Santo?
Then that's what he needs to do.
A day of light language. No one talks.
I've done that. I did that. I've done that before.
Wow.
After a while, you just get people. You just get them. All right, everybody, here it is. We've been promising you for 3 months. Express sign up is ready. 2feathers Two feathers. Hold on. What is that again? I can't remember it.
Scotland Bus Tour, 2 feathers at gmail.com. I put
There
it
you
in the
go.
chat. It will appear on all the posts as well.
And for express sign, express sign
That's
it,
it.
because it's first come, first serve, especially when it comes to those people who want to have single rooms all the way through. Scat call and response. Scatting, yes. There's many scatologists out there. All right, everyone. Thanks for showing up. We will be having the comedy shows reappearing tomorrow at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That's Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We will be back with the comedy show, going after those that have a serious stick so far up their ass that they needs to be surgically removed. So yes, stop on by. We will be putting out the link for the Zoom room tomorrow for that, and we shall be sending an email also for those that want to get email reminders. All right, everybody, we will see you tomorrow, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for the comedy show. All right, Joel, take us away.